Hi all, hello again. Been 3 and a bit weeks now since Cheltenham. Aintree's well underway. And bizarrely, despite my terrible efforts at tipping up the Grand National last year, where my four I gave was Ballard Briggs Jr. synchronised in Calgary Bay, all of which, well, one of them finished. So there's something. I've had a couple of emails off you guys to basically say just give a similar run through for the Grand National this year like I did last year, really. So that's what I'm going to do. You ask, you get, as they say. So yeah, I'm going to go through, give them a 3-star, between probably 0 and 5-star, depending on what it'll be, and then I'll give a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not in any particular order at the end. As I said, it's people have asked for it. It's not a race I have a great record in myself, but you know, you never know. It might help you to pick what you're going to get. If you see me looking up as well, because I've got another computer screen here. But we're going to start now with horse number 1, which is Imperial Commander, trained by Nigel Twiston-Davies. Ridden by his son Sam. He is without doubt the class horse of the field, ex-Gold Cup winner. Actually came back after a very long layoff with a really creditable second behind Cape Tribulation. At Cheltenham. Cape Tribulation had already won earlier in the season the big race up at Wetherby and run a pretty good race in the Gold Cup and at Aintree yesterday. He's got enough weight off 11 stone 10 and he's not exactly the right age at 12 to be winning a race like this, but he's all class and I can definitely see him running into a place, I think, possibly. He's 4 stars. Number 2 is What a Friend, Paul Nicholls. Sam Thomas was once came very close to being placed in a Gold Cup, but he's been going downhill progressively for the last year or so. Got a lot of weight as well with 11 stone 9. Hard to recommend him at all, 1 star. Weird Al for Donald McCain is an enigma. On his day he's brilliant, but you know, if you look at his last 5 figures, he's only actually finished once, so he's very hard to recommend, even though Timmy Murphy's on board. 1 star. Quell Esprit for Willie Mullins, very, very classy horse. 9 seems to be the right age, but he usually needs ground a lot softer than this, but should give him someone a good spin round, which is Paul Townend up tomorrow, so he's 2 stars. Big Fella Thanks has gone for the Grand National on many occasions and has always finished at the best place. I think he was 4th, but always just seems to not see the trip out. He's 11 now, he's getting no younger, but once again, he should give a good spin round, 2 stars. Seabass placed last year for Ted and Katie Walsh, and has been trained specifically for this. He's run some very good races already this year, but I suspect last year might have been his opportunity. He's a year older today, the ground's a bit faster, but I can certainly see him running another decent race, 3 stars. Roberto Goldbeck for Nicky Henderson started the campaign really well and has been a bit inconsistent still, and I don't think these fences will necessarily bring out the best, but Barry Geraghty has picked this horse. Could, once again, his jumping, he keeps falling in unseated. Could give Barry a good run, but I can see better horses, 2 stars. Sunny Hill Boy was mugged on the line last year by Neptune Collonge and is a little bit higher in the weights now. The drying ground, I suspect, won't be in his favour, and he has been abandoned by Tony McCoy, but he stays all day, he jumps very well, and there's no reason to see why he couldn't at least get placed again. He's 4 stars. Ballard Briggs needs no introduction, ex-winner of the Grand National, and has been trained specifically for this. Drying ground in his favour, but he's now 12, he's up in the weights, and it's pretty hard to see him getting any better than last year's 6, but once again, good spin around, pretty much guaranteed, 3 stars. T for 3 has had a very inconsistent season by his own nature, but he's obviously winning the Welsh National and the Midlands National. He's kind of shown his hand to the handicapper really, but at 11-3 and 9 years old, everything seems right for him. He stays very well, and I can see him running a very big race, 3 stars. Across the Bay for Donald McCain, ridden by Henry Brook, very good stay, but all of his form seems to be on heavy ground. Once again, Donald McCain's horses, he had another one placed today. They do seem to go well over these fences, could give Henry a good run round, but struggling to see him being at the business end, 2 stars. Joined together run a decent race in the Beecher Chase before tiring and took well to the fences. I just don't know if he is necessarily the type who will relish 4.5 miles. He could, he's got potential to do it, but I just don't think it's going to be him. He's 2 stars. Colbert Station is the pick of Tony McCoy, and he's had a wonderful season, getting progressively better all year. He's the right age at age 9. 11-1 is pretty much around the weight that you need for the Grand National. Everything's set for a huge run from him. 4 stars. Paddy the Plasterer, I just don't think he's going to stay 4.5 miles, and he's just not the horse he was. He's potentially well weighted if he can repeat it, but I just don't think he's going to. 1 star. On his own, Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh was cruising in this last year when he came down on the second circuit. He's only had 1 run this year and actually won. He's the right age at 9. He's 11 years old. Despite the alarming drift in the last few days, he's out to 12-1 now. He's my idea of the winner of this year's Grand National, 5 stars. John Cole is, once again, very much in and out of form at the moment, better on a soft surface, 1 star. Balthazar King has shown himself to be very adept over the peculiar cross-country course at Aintree, and once again 9 years old, potentially well weighted. I just don't think this type of race is going to suit him. I think he's more suited by the cross-country race, but could give Richard Johnson a good spin round, 3 stars. Capper Blair placed in this last year and has been trained towards this again, but he's another year older, and I think he was pretty much at the end of his rope when he came 4th last year, but he should run pretty well, I reckon, but probably finish at best where he came last year, 3 stars. Oscar Time has placed in this before, but has not even finished in front of anyone in his last load of starts. Very, very difficult to recommend him today for the Grand National, 1 star. Always Waning has made the top of his own, but I really don't think that he's going to stay the trip. But he's 12 now, and I suppose connections are thinking it's now or never for him, really, which I can completely understand why he thinks that way. But I just don't think it's going to be his day, 2 stars. Tattenan, inconsistent performer, probably won't stay the trip, 1 star. Treacle, Andrew Lynch on board for Tom Taff. He was fancied in this the other year and he just never really took to the fences. Hard to see him doing it again, 1 star. Lost Glory has shown great form in lower class races than this, but once again, not guaranteed to stay, 1 star. Swing Bill has done well over these fences before, but he's 12 now, and the David Pipe Yard, despite Dynasty, are under a bit of a cloud at the moment. Hard to see him featuring, 1 star. Saintar blocked his copybook with some really poor jumping. He's 7, which is pretty young for a Grand National horse. He should stay, but as I said, his jumping's a huge concern, 1 star. Chicago Grey is the ideal type for this race, really, and I know Gordon Elliott fancies him a lot here. He's won the 4-miler at Cheltenham. He's getting more and more to form this season, had a breathing operation, can see him going well, 3 stars. Quiscover Fontaine should belie his 28-1 odds. He was going pretty well last year when he came down, though a long way from home. I still suspect he may not see the trip out, 2 stars. Rare Bob should stay. His breeding suggests he'll stay, but he's 11 years old now. But Desi Hughes' yard is in form. Brian Cooper is the jockey to follow at the moment. Should give a good run around, 2 stars. The Rainbow Hunter, very, very little to get excited about with this. He's shown some good form in lesser class races than this. Potentially well weighted, but there's better 66-1 shots, 1 star. Because I couldn't see, has just not been the force that he was this season. I don't know what's niggling him. Hard to fancy him on this form, 1 star. Harry the Viking came second to T for 3 at Cheltenham a couple of years, 2 seasons ago, but since then has barely completed, massively out of form. Don't think he'll take to the fences, 1 star. Mr. Moonshine for Sue Smith and Peter Buchanan got some bits and bobs of form, but once again, I'm just not convinced he's a classy enough horse compared to what's in the field to win this, 1 star. Mumble's Head got no further than the first at his one and only try at the fence. He's 12 years old, he's fell and been pulled up at the last twice. He shouldn't be here, to be honest with you, in my eyes. I just hope he gets round in one piece, because he's been a cracking horse for connections, and I just hope it's not one of those sad cases. So fingers crossed he comes home, 1 star. 90th Minutes has got in and out form again, but most of it on soft ground. Niall Madden's on board, who's a Aintree winning jockey. But I just don't think he's going to stay the trip out here, 1 star. Aurora's Encore does stay all day. A very good jumper, but he's been massively out of form this season, but could give Ryan Mania a good spin round, 3 stars. Tarquinius, Wilson Rennick for Gordon Elliott, is clearly the stable second string. Last time he tried him over a bit of a further trip, he didn't get it. Can't see him getting it today, 1 star. Interest in his horse 37, Any Currency, Martin Keithley and Ian Popham. He's been placed several times over 4 miles, and his form's been a bit in and out this season, but he does relish good ground, which he hasn't had. He was going really well in the Beecher Chase when he unseated, when a loose horse hampered him there, so he has actually taken well to the fences before. He will stay, and at 100-1 is actually available in a place with Paddy Power. There is worse pets. If you're looking for a big price, he's the one if you're getting top 5, 3 stars. Major Malarkey's run very well in the Midlands National before. before, but all of his form's been on softer going. He's not going to get that here. It's like a road at Aintree. I was there yesterday. Hard to make a case for him. 1 star. Sol has creeped in today for Joe Hughes with Mark Grant on board. Now, he does stay pretty well and has got some good form on good ground. It's just a case of if he takes to the fences. He's quite young at 8 years old. But he's off 10 stone, and he's, potentially it's one of those stories, gets in on the last day and then could run well. I think he'll run well without bothering the judge. 3 stars. And Viking Blonde also got in today, doesn't stay the trip, not a particularly great jumper. Adam Wedge is on board for Nigel Twiston-Davies because he's clearly the outsider, the second string, and once again I just hope he comes home safe. 1 star. So there we go. If we're going through it, there's some the main ones you're looking at there are the ones which have scored obviously the highest stars. But if you're looking for a top 5 for me as a winner, I'm happy to go with, despite the drift on his own. I said he was going great last year. Ground fine. Got the jockey Ruby Walsh, won around here many times before. Mullins Yard on fire. Everything seems to be on route for a good run there. And as for the places, Colbert Station is the Mountain McCoy and is improving all the time. He could go very well. Old Imperial Commander, he's a class horse. I'd love to see him get placed. I just hope we don't have any sad stories with him or any of the horses tomorrow, but I really think he's a type who would relish the fences and could go very well. Old Sunny Hill Boy again, so unlucky last year. I can see him filling the places. He's a bit up in the weights, ground not right, but he's a tough little horse and I could see him going well. And Any Currency, if you're looking for the big price, you got to throw one in there. 100 to 1, 100 to 1 won the Fox Hunters yesterday, so it can happen. He stays, goes on the ground, so yeah, potentially if you're looking for a big price, there you go. Well, as I said, you might want to ignore me if you did last year, but hopefully you pick something up. Good luck if you're having a bet tomorrow, and I will have another video on soon, maybe. All right, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.